Ghosts, haunted houses, pumpkin heads. Halloween is the time of year that fills the streets with fright. So today we are counting down the top 10 best Halloween-themed levels of all time. In this list, we are taking some of the best levels that fit the Halloween theme while still being enjoyable to play. We are only using one level per franchise, so hope you're ready. Starting off, we have the entire Pumpkin Zone from Super Mario Land 2. Now normally, we'd only use one level per game, but this game's levels are so short, and the themes fit so well, it's tough to separate them. Beginning with the first level, it seems to take its inspiration from Western culture. The two main enemies in this part are masked ghouls, which takes its reference from Jason from the Friday the 13th movies, as well as a vampire at the end of the level, which ends up throwing bats at you for some reason. The second level takes Mario back to his Japanese roots, with a background having similar designs to that of a Japanese graveyard. It's no wonder why the level is full of yokai spirits, demons, and even a will-o-wisp that tries to play tricks on you more than kills you, which tends to make them more annoying if anything, as you end up jumping into them while trying to avoid them. With the third level, you get a ghost house, filled with ghosts of course, yet you don't just get any ghost, you get waves after waves of booze coming right at you, and the occasional lonely Goomba spirit that wanders the house forever lost, after Mario's senseless murder of their people. Now, with all these themes wrapped up into one zone, you gotta imagine that the boss of the area will keep with the theme, and you'd be right. As a boss, it ends up being a wicked witch. Looks like she's straight out of a children's storybook. Broom, green skin, warts and all. But as far as a fight goes, she's an easy 3-stomp boss. Then you're on your way to the next level. Overall, not the best Mario game in the series, but still, an overall fun chapter all the same. Mad Monster Mansion, an iconic level of the famed Banjo and Kazooie series. It really fits well in this list. Being Rare's first attempt at making a 3D platformer, they did a fairly good job. I mean, come on. Ghosts, living gravestones, even skeletons crawling throughout the entire level gives it a kind of Toony-style creepy feeling. While not necessarily a hard level, there are plenty of things to do here in order to get all the chickens. From saving the Jinjos to playing Follow the Leader with a ghost hand that's playing an organ, this game picks up on the whole haunted vibe. There's even a spelling game with a Ouija board where you have to spell out Banjo and Kazooie. Then even after all that, you end up turning Banjo into a pumpkin, just to get into a secret area with Mumbo Jumbo, the witch doctor. Add all that up with the music, and you get a whole creepy Halloween theme as well. Though critics have said when it comes to the gameplay, it takes a lot from Super Mario 64. But I say they took what works and went in their own direction with it. Even if the game could have been a bit more fleshed out, it's still a pretty good game. Within the realm of side-scrollers, there are many good games and levels that get lost or forgotten. Sadly, this holds true of the game Puppeteer and its level, Act 5, Fear of the Dark. Now, there are 3 parts to Act 5, Fear of the Dark, but none of them bring out the Halloween spirit like Curtain 1. It has you starting off in a dark and haunted forest. As you travel through the forest, you end up having to light multiple jack-o'-lanterns throughout the entire level with your ninja bomb ability in order to keep the darkness at bay. As you go further into the forest, it starts to get a lot creepier. Dark spirits appear as if manifesting from the darkness itself. And if you're not quick enough to keep the jack-o'-lanterns lit, then they'll attack you, making it increasingly difficult to complete the level. Now, if that wasn't enough, you end up having to cut your way through toxic candy with your trusty scissors while jumping across the ghost-infested stage. With all the ghosts, pumpkins, and even the candy, it's looking like this is one heck of a Halloween level, but this stage is nowhere near done yet. When you finally make it to the end of the level, you're met with this Frankenstein cyborg named General Dog. Now, he isn't one of the hardest bosses to beat, but he is one of the more enjoyable fights. You even finish him off by pulling out his brain and cutting it in half with your trusty scissors. Yet, even after the boss fight is finished, there are a bunch of extras left in the level, like the several heads that you find that help you unlock bonuses and mini stages throughout the entire area. In the game, you use the different heads as a sort of costume change. Like with the pumpkin head, you end up using it to unlock the mini bonus stage. With the ghost head, you end up unlocking a kind of roulette that allows you to get bonus points or even extra lives. There's even the candy head that you find hidden in General Dog's lair that'll help you with the boss in the next curtain. For how well this game plays, and its beautiful level design, I can't help but feel like this game is just a bit underrated.
Attaboy, Slugger! See, that was just the tip of the Kataro iceberg.
A full moon, zombie robots, a haunted castle. This stage just reeks of spooks and monsters, and a full range of Halloween charm. And I mean, what more could you ask for from Shademan stage from Mega Man 7? Alright, let's start off here. You progress through the level and you end up fighting your way through hordes of these astro zombies. And trust me, they're more of a nuisance than a real threat. But as you make it farther into this castle, you end up coming across other frightful robo-fiends, like the full moon changing Gilliam Knights, which, under the full moon, turns them into a wolf kind of cyborg. And they're a complete and utter pain, one of the toughest enemies in the game to actually defeat one-on-one, until they change back once the full moon disappears behind the clouds. Then after that, they're fairly easy to defeat. But besides all the crazy enemies you end up fighting in this level, once you make it halfway through, you end up face to face with a Jack-o-lanturn reject of a Russian nesting doll named Von Pukin, which, depending on how you defeat him, will open up one of two different level paths, which gives the level a ton of replay value in my opinion. But as you fight your way to the end of the stage, you finally reach the boss's room, Shademan. And it's crazy just how much the Halloween themes just keep going with him, as he is basically a metal Dracula. For example, his grab attack basically drains Mega Man's oil, or blood, from his body, which he uses to actually heal himself in combat. And yet he doesn't just exhibit traits from vampires, but bats as well. One huge example of this is his signature move, the Noise Crush attack, which sends a powerful shockwave of sound, which bounces off of other objects and comes right back to him, kind of like how a bat's sonar works. You can really see how this level managed to land itself on this list. With all these unique enemies, they really tend to lend themselves to the great level design. And besides, who doesn't enjoy a good Mega Man level? With good side-scrolling platformers in high demand, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse level of Spiderweb Island is no slouch. Right off the bat, it's a modern game that takes you back to the 16-bit era, with amazing themes, and an entire island whose sole residents are monsters, ghouls, and even a family of friendly zombies. The first part of the island you spend saving Shantae's friend Roddytops from a giant killer spider. She ends up being so paralyzed with fear that Shantae ends up having to carry her. In the meantime, dodging feral zombie hands, tombstone bugs, one-eyed mummies, and even huge impalers that just come right out of the ground. After getting Roddytops home, you end up having to help her two brothers just to get any other areas of the level unlocked, like Crackle Tower. Besides that though, as you explore further into this level, you end up seeing a lot of tributes to many of the classic 16-bit games like Castlevania, in the form of many of the enemies, such as the skeletons and the succubus triplets. There's even a Sonic Spinball reference, in the form of those demon spitters that shoot you across the stage. But let's put that behind us for a second, and focus on the real exciting part, the boss. Empress Spider, you know, That giant spider at the beginning of the stage that was after Roddy Tops? Well, she's back, and she is pissed. And I know what you're thinking. She's huge. She's terrifying. She's spitting out eggs and fire at you. But if you can crush the eggs and avoid the fireballs, she really isn't all that difficult, especially if you spend the time to level grind and power up all of Shantae's abilities before going into this battle. She can tend to be kind of easy, but the real satisfying thing is just watching her explode in a blaze of glory as you finish the level. So, how do you know it's Halloween in Springfield? Well, apparently when the loading screen just shoves the date right in your face. That happens to be the case with Simpsons Hit and Run's infamous level, only known as Level 7. Personally, I would have loved to see them actually give this level a name, but you know some awesome haunted shenanigans are going to ensue when the Simpsons are involved. And I mean really, this level is straight out of a Treehouse of Horror special. The level even begins with a narrative in the loading screen showing you that evil Cola is turning the residents of Springfield into zombies. Well, except for the main cast. Go figure. And even all the cars in the town get a kind of Halloween-style upgrade, from turning your regular cars into witches' brooms, coffin cars, even a ghost ship. It's nuts. But I gotta say, it's really fun driving all the Halloween cars. And seeing Springfield with all the Halloween decorations up. Plus, you have all these Treehouse of Horror type missions to go on. The game is good, even if it is just a GTA clone with its own Simpsons feel to it. But as far as drawbacks go, its platforming sucks beyond repair. If only they took just that little extra time to polish it up. But despite its shortcomings, Level 7 nails it.
Help it! 2, 4, 6, 8, you suck, I'm great, da 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 da, you I hate. Wow, this car sure can take a beating.
Leading up the number 4 slot is one of the more unnerving levels to come out of Rare. It's big, it's dark, it's Creepy Castle. Known for holding the record as the biggest 3D platforming level of the 64 era, it is also one of the most foreboding levels in the entire game as well, being the only floating level leaving you with huge chance of falling to your death with just one wrong move. A quick look of the level shows just how massive the area is, but as large as the area on the outside of the level is, it continues on the inside with multiple interior positions. These areas include, but are not limited to, a haunted library, creepy hedge maze, ghost-ridden ballroom, and even a catacombs. And those catacombs are freaky. Fog is everywhere. A sickeningly green glow comes from the walls. There's even toxic green sludge that can one-hit knock you out just by a simple touch. But putting all that aside, just listen to that music. Yeah, that's right. Ghostly wailing. Plus, you got the cursed cart ride, where you end up being chased by what I can only assume is a spirit-like demon that has been chasing the Kongs from all the way back in Donkey Kong Country 2. So if that doesn't have you unnerved, then how about the enemies? You have the ever-present Cusplats and Crossbones to deal with around every corner, and then you have the Critter in a Sheets. Now, you might just think that they're just a normal Kremlin with a bedsheet over their bodies, but in fact, these are the dead spirits of Kremlins, haunting the creepy castle, as they are the only enemy that can actually walk through solid objects. If you ask me, that's actually kind of depressing, forever to be enslaved by King K. Rool, even in death. So, next time you're busting some Kremlins up with Donkey Kong, just keep in mind that they're never truly gone. Now I know what many of you are gonna say. Mystic Mansion over Pumpkin Hill. Pumpkin Hill! But trust me, while Pumpkin Hill on the surface fits the part, Mystic Mansion smashes it out of the pumpkin patch. Bad jokes aside, while Pumpkin Hill has pumpkins, Mystic Mansion offers so much more. Immediately you enter the level through these huge doors, and the first thing you see are bat designs on the floor, pumpkin wallpaper, even statues and paintings of robots everywhere you go. I mean, really, whoever made this mansion had a thing for creepy. For starters, there are these switches that turn the entire level on its head. I mean, I don't know if you've ever played a Sonic game before, but when you flip the script like that, it makes the whole level disorienting. Then it even ups the danger level at times by turning those paintings and statues into hordes of enemies coming at you. And don't even get me started on the lurking skeletons. I mean, these skeletons lurking just in the distance throughout the entire level, watching you. You can't even get close to them before they disappear. And this continues just about till you reach the trippiest part of the level, Limbo. The whole area is just this huge, static void, where you end up having to complete 3 challenges for each team member: power, speed, and flying. It's as if the teams have to fight their way through these challenges, and only upon completing them does the level actually let them go free. But you have to hand it to Sonic Team at Sega. They really know how to keep the level design interesting.
Mission completed.
What's wrong with me?
Now, I'm sure you all knew that Halloweentown just had to make this list. This level is almost perfectly taken from the movie. Halloweentown is one of the most exciting levels in the whole Kingdom Hearts game. Heck, Sora and the gang even get an awesome costume change just so they fit into the level a little bit more and the monsters don't recognize them as residents from another world. Personally, I love this level. The music is literally "This Is Halloween" from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and it's constantly playing in the background. Then there's the multitude of Heartless that take on the shapes from many classic monsters like ghosts, mummies, even gargoyles. Not to mention all the character fights in this game, like the fights with Locke, Shock, and Barrel, and even that no-good Oogie Boogie. He's probably one of the more annoying bosses in the entire Kingdom Hearts game. You end up having to fight him in 2 parts. One, in his roulette room, where unless you trap him in place, you can't even really hit him. Magic barely has any effect on him. Then, after a grueling fight, he takes on his monstrous size after absorbing the power of darkness and becomes one with his matter. Though Boogie's bigger, the boss fight is more tiresome than hard, as platforming becomes more of a focused aspect in this fight than actual fighting. But when all is said and done, there is no feeling more satisfying than seeing Boogie come crashing down and Sora finally closing that keyhole once and for all. Now, before we get to number 1, here's a quick list of levels that didn't quite make it in our honorable mentions.
Master Emerald.
Just getting my quick start.
Finally, we're on our number 1 pick, and it's Luigi's Mansion. Damn, this game is just the cream of the crop or what. There's just so many great parts of this game that it just screams Haunted Halloween House of Horror. But for this list, we do need to narrow it down a bit. So for that, we narrow it down to Act 2, where the whole game really starts to pick up an atmosphere. Dark corners, even jump scares abound, and booze. All the damn booze. In order to move any further in the game, you are forced to release all the freaking messed up specters. I mean, there's Bamboo, Bootha, Taboo, Boolicious, Game Boo Advanced. Really? Game Boo Advanced? Well, you gotta give it to Nintendo for naming every single one of their boos. That takes some clever planning. But after all of that, you have the boss of this level, one of the most creepy and disturbing and frustrating of the portrait ghosts, and his name is Bogmire. Now, at first, you would take him for just your run-of-the-mill sheet ghost. That's where you're dead wrong. This ghost ended up making multiple copies of itself, in different sizes, that chase Luigi down, throw him off from finding the real Bogmire, but like any good game, he has a tail. 'Cause he's purple. And tossing those damn copies back at him helps you claim victory. And with that victory, Luigi's Mansion Act 2 gets our top pick as the best Halloween-themed level of all time. Well, that wraps it up for this top 10. We would really like to thank you for watching our first scripted video. Do you agree with our list? Do you think we left anything out? Please leave us a comment below and let us know what your thoughts are. And hey, while you're there, how about you hit that like button and subscribe to the Gamers Brew so that way you don't miss out on any future episodes. And, as always, thanks for watching.